meeting, which always happened before the main SADC meeting, which will take place in Harare, Zimbabwe, around the 16th, 17th of August. So in that context, we wanted to register our displeasure. When we got into Zambia, we went straight to the headquarters of the Zambia police, where we submitted our notification letter, and we waited for it to be processed. But when we submitted it, we were told that there's no, there's no objection by the officers, and it was stamped. There was no objection, there was no issue about it. And the assumption is that when you notify the police and they don't object, the assumption is that you are given a confirmation to go ahead. So we knew that, okay, in that context, the police would have used their own discretion to give us that permission. But we must also understand that there is a rule in Zambia and law to say if you want to stage a demonstration or a function like that, or a protest, you must give police notification 7 days prior to the event. And there was no way we could meet the 7 days because we were misinformed about the actual dates of the meeting. The SADC MCO only published the dates on the 3 days before the event. I do not know whether it was done deliberately or because of certain circumstances beyond our knowledge. So there was no way we could be able to comply with a 7-day notice when the notice, when the information of the dates was given 3 days prior the event. That's why we went to plead with the police. Fortunately, on that day, they didn't have any problem with our notification because they said there are times when discretion is used. So we believe that the authorities had used that discretion to give us a go-ahead. We started to mobilize. We started to go out with our flyers, with our pamphlets. We reached out as many people as possible. We addressed a certain Zimbabwean groupings. This included students, churches, and even some refugees and different people, groupings of Zimbabweans. We managed to reach their message. So on the eve of that, we went to bed knowing that we were going to stage a demo with many people who were going to attend or to turn out. We expected a good turnout because, yes, the people were organized, though in a short period of time. And the transport was ready. So in the morning of the 11th of July, the day when the meeting of MCO started, we went there straight in the precinct, and to our surprise, we were met by a contingent of the hierarchy of the security authorities who then engaged with us. Honestly, they did not harass us. They engaged us in a professional manner, but you could see that the environment was a bit hostile with different CIOs from Zimbabwe who were there, whom they didn't know. The Zambian authorities did not know these people because you could tell these are not the Zambians, they could tell, but they called themselves police to us. They pretended as if they were Zambian police. However, when we were discussing with the commissioner, he even said, "Who are these?" And we said, "No, they're not with us." They thought maybe they're part of us. And they said, "No, but no, you stand as if you are, but you are Zimbabweans." Now, they didn't want to discuss much about that. What happened then was that soon after that, the police explained to us that we have a problem here. We could not reach you yesterday. Your phone was not reachable, and why did you give us the wrong number? And we could have finalized your notification. But when we tested the phone, we realized the phone was working, and it was just a lame excuse. We were also told that there are political issues in the country. The situation is very difficult. You could have applied 7 days before, but we explained to them that we only knew about the event, about the dates 3 days before. There was no way we could do that, and we explained to them, we showed them the letter, and they said, yes, we are aware of this, we are quite aware of this, and there's no way we could say no or yes at the moment. Can you give us time to process your notification? That's when we were about to leave. Then the commander again said, no, don't go. Let me try something. He started to phone some higher authorities, and then they were not accessible because they were said to have been in the meeting. Then he came back to us and said, hey guys, I'm sorry, we cannot have you access the precinct at the moment. The premises are highly security risk for now. We do not want anyone in the precinct. Can you hang on? And that's from that point, we had to tell the people to hang on, and they could not come inside, but they were already gathered in different places and with banners and placards in small groups. Then the press started to follow us. We started to speak and even talk about the petition, our petition. Of course, you can imagine when you have invited people and you are denied access to protest, you are barred from protesting. What happens? You get frustrated as leaders. You get a bit frustrated, but you have to manage the situation at the same time. And we knew that what we wanted is a message to get to the SADC current SADC chairperson, who is Mr. HH, the Zambian president, so that he gets our issues. So the other option we were left with was to go to the the Foreign Affairs Office, which is our entrance to Zambia. We had to, when we went there, we engaged with the PEMSEC and the protocol, the chief of protocols, who assisted us very well, and they assured us when we handed over our petition to say, no, this is the right way. What you are doing is the right way. We will have to take it to the SADC authorities. I mean, if you are addressing the chairperson of SADC, MCO, this is the right place. So everything was signed, and outside, of course, we did some recordings explaining to what was happening. Then, unfortunately, there was a letter that they wanted. They wanted the letter from the police, which we did not submit on that day. We then came the following day with the letter from the police. We did not, and submitted. After submitting, when we were outside the precinct, the premises of the Department of Foreign Affairs, there was another gentleman who came from nowhere. It's just like a crazy gentleman, and he came, he found us taking Elisha, one of our colleagues, our comrade, taking me pictures and recording what I was saying about the petition, and appreciating Zambian authorities for handling us well. Then he discovered that we are those people who were in the that was used to take the video, and immediately he called the police and said, no, we can't leave him. So I hanged on there a bit, and only to discover that they came back to me and told me to move away. If you remain here for the next 5 minutes, we also detaining you. So fortunately, I had to alert others on what has happened. That detention which took place a few hours, but then later we communicated, and Then we came back. I came back with someone, one of the comrades. When I came back, we found out that there was a minister of defense who came to check, to verify if the information which was recorded was dead against the government, only to find that we were talking proper, we were not made no harm, we were not as what this gentleman has portrayed us. We were good people. We were actually trying to express, to exercise our rights, our right of freedom of expression, freedom of association, of gathering and demonstrating. And at that particular moment, there was a meeting on our letter. We didn't even know that. There was a meeting of the authorities. They were discussing the letter, the petition, sorry. They were discussing about us, and they even called the lady who had gone home to come back to bring the file of all the documents that we had submitted. She came back and she even said, no, these people are peaceful people. They made no harm to us, made no harm to government. No, I don't know why you have to harass them, you know. So that's how he was released and given the phone, of course, back. But it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because our matter was, our petition then was taken by the Minister of Defense, and they went together.
mind, it's dead. Right here? Right here? And then I jump there with all my superpowers. I can jump from here to there. Nothing. Mom? Mom? Can I go into the car with you? Can I put you a milk? Can I bring the iPad somewhere else? I mean, can I bring that somewhere else? Yes. You told me to stay into the car. Hello, Mama. Okay. It's kind of a little bit right. It's a little bit. It's a little bit right. Like little droplets. Could I still keep it? Yeah.
It's great.
Senator Timber was arrested. Okay, let's say they were arrested, but they were tortured. Maybe the arrest is because they had committed whatever crime. But were they supposed to be tortured? Were they supposed to have broken legs? Were they supposed to have wounds and scars in the hands of the police? Are they really supposed to have been still? Today is now 20 days in prison. Are they supposed to still be in prison for 20 days? Like we have seen the worst people, the worst crimes in the country, the crimes which disadvantage other people. You know, when we say this crime is now like it disadvantages a group of people, like all pensioners. I can say all people who worked maybe from independence until maybe 2010. Mfumina took away 90 million of their savings. That's what we are saying here. And we are saying Senator Timber was just hosting 80 individuals at his homestead. He and those individuals, they are still in jail. They were denied bail just like that. These are the human rights concerns we have to ask SADC. Are they saying, oh, this doesn't matter, and they just want the country to move on for the sake of rotational chairmanship?
My brother, change radio. That's the question. Sorry. Since Chairman Love is back, maybe we should, let him kind of tell us more about what should come out of this petition, and is that something we're going to achieve as Zimbabwean citizens? Welcome back, Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Ranga. I kept on talking without knowing that I was already cut off. So I don't know where I left.
So you spoke quite a bit about what happened, but our takeaway was you delivered the petition and something good came out of something that was meant for bad. So the question is, what do you see happening next, and what should citizens look forward to? What should we be doing? Because we haven't achieved really what this whole thing is about. Okay. So can you tell us more about what you expected to happen after the petition?
Thank you. Obviously, what we expect is a change of whatever decision, if they've already made it, to make Mr. Mnangagwa the next SADC chairperson, because it is against the spirit of SADC SIOM report, because it is actually putting somebody whom you accuse to be a thief to take care of your goats, somebody who has stolen your goats, and you want him to take care of those goats again. It is the man himself is still suffering from the legitimate issues. So we expect SADC to make change, but we know that it's not going to be a once-off thing. What we did was just, it should not be a once-off thing. We must come up with concerted effort, must come out with action programs, and one of the programs is to keep on piling pressure to SADC member states through petitioning them through their embassies here, in particular in South Africa, where we have all of them, they are represented, they have embassies and consulates here. So we can apply for demonstration and mobilize ourselves and go and hand over the petition to try and make a clarion call to them and also to the international community to hear the cry of Zimbabwean people, to say we are not happy, we are not part and parcel of the narrative that is chanted out there, to which Mnangagwa is saying Zimbabwean people are happy, they are concerned, they have no problem with what is happening in Zimbabwe. There is a total disregard, there's a blatant total disregard of law in the country, like there is the speaker who has just alluded that we have people who are in jail, we have our opposition members who are in jail right now. Mr. Timber, Honorable Timber is in jail with the other people and the stories that we have been listening. So there is that line of action that we think we should not allow this momentum to die. We are going to organize ourselves around SADC. Let it not be only in South Africa. We're going to make sure in Namibia, in Zambia, again in places like Botswana, even in Malawi, wherever there are Zimbabweans who are not happy, we want to keep on mobilizing and staging up protests. I know some people had come to a point of giving up, but I want to encourage every Zimbabwean who is concerned about Zimbabwe, who want to see a prosperous Zimbabwe, who want to see young, old people coming, those who want to come back home, coming back, who want to see diaspora coming back to reinvest and live their lives, to stand up and fight for our rights. This is our land. That is where we were born. That is where we call home. It does not belong to one dynasty of Mnangagwa or to the few elite who are looting the resources of our country, who are doing all the corrupt activities in that country. So my call is to say, let us not give up, because we have an opportunity to stop SADC from doing that. Because the moment they put ED as the next chair, the SIOM report is likely to fall apart, because he is going to determine the proceedings in the SADC, the decisions in SADC, policy directions in SADC. So when with that kind of a man who himself is dripping, his hands is full of dripping blood of
did you get muted, Chairman?
okay, well, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. So while you're on that, maybe I should ask you this question, and hand over to Chief Jose. So, there are some Zimbabwean citizens who say, you guys who go to SADC and everywhere and protest, you are being unpatriotic. Can you talk to those Zimbabwean citizens in terms of why it is patriotic to be doing the protests like you are doing in Zambia? That's number one. Number two, can you also talk to SADC citizens? Because everyone we meet, some whether it's in America or Europe, everywhere, they say, you guys are too much inward looking. You just look at yourselves. You're not telling your story the correct way. So why should SADC citizens care about this? SADC citizens, meaning citizens in Zambia, in Botswana,
in South Africa. Why should they care about who is SADC chairman next? Does it affect them at all, or is this just a Zimbabwean problem?
Thank you. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, clear.
Okay. So let's start with the issue of being patriotic. We are more patriotic than those who do not want to demonstrate, than those who are quiet, than those who are complacent of what is happening in Zimbabwe, because we want to fix the challenges in Zimbabwe. We want to fix the blatant disregard, total disregard of the law in Zimbabwe. We want to make sure that people have their own rights, not only just the rights, but we want to make sure that there is a proper government chosen by the people. There should be a democratic government chosen by the people. We must make sure that in Zimbabwe, we are more patriotic to protect our resources, our natural resources. There's looting all over in that country. There are short deals that are made. Corruption is rampant. There are so many social ills that I cannot start listing here right now. We want to fix our system in education. We want to fix our health systems. We want to fix all the transportation, the roads and so forth, the economy. We want to fix our economy. That's being patriotic because we want our country to be properly governed. We want a better life in Zimbabwe. We want to bring good life change in Zimbabwe. We love our country. We are very loyal to our constitution, which is being vandalized and violated by ZANU-PF and systems, by killing people, by denying people the right to demonstrate. That's actually vandalizing our constitution. So coming to the second issue of outward looking, yes, we are not only talking to our own people only, we are appealing to the SADC member states, to our members in other countries in SADC. That is why we have actually registered here in South Africa the organization or umbrella term, we call it SADC Citizens Democratic Society. That is, its membership is open to all SADC members. Often we used to hear South Africans saying, how best can we help you, because we are not part and parcel of that. When they become part and parcel of this organization, they are now having the power to speak on behalf as SADC members, as SADC citizens. It's very important, because if they don't get involved, the death of democracy in Zimbabwe will always affect them. The death of democracy in Zimbabwe causes immigration issues, migration. It causes a lot of social ills around. It is actually a problem in the sense also that the whole electoral process that they will be of rigging or flawed electoral process will be exported to other countries, to their countries, because this whole thing will have set a precedent that a flawed process you can still govern even if people don't choose you, even if you lose elections, you can still govern. So we want the people in the region to know that the death of democracy in Zimbabwe is also the death of democracy in their countries, and they will be affected not only.
You're on mute again, Chairman. Keep talking.
I don't know where I left. I don't know who moved me. Okay, maybe it's timed. Yes, I don't know. I touched. Did you hear my point on the issue of outward?
So yes, you talked about democracy. That death of democracy in Zimbabwe is a prelude to death of democracy in SADC. So some people in SADC, like you go to Lesotho, their definition of democracy may be different, and some people may say, we believe in kings and chiefs in SADC, even though we're members of SADC. So the question is, can you touch a little bit more what it means to different economies in SADC if we have a sick Zimbabwe. What does it mean for everyone else? Because the electoral issue in Zimbabwe is not just an electoral issue. It's affecting everyday lives for Zimbabwean citizens, especially economically. So can you talk more, if you were talking to SADC citizens, why it matters that Zimbabwe can work again?
It matters a lot because there is a free trade agreement that was signed recently in the recent years to try to integrate our goods, to try to trade with others. Now, if Zimbabwe is affected, if the economy of Zimbabwe collapses, it will mean that even the other countries around Zimbabwe will have a very difficult time, because most of the goods they pass through Zimbabwe, going from South Africa, Mozambique, they pass through Zimbabwe, going to Zambia, going to Malawi, going to DRC. So automatically the death of democracy in that country, it also means that economically there will be a high volume of people migrating from Zimbabwe to Lesotho, to Swaziland. Already there's got issues of immigration in those member states whom they cannot handle, the issue of employment, the issue of national physicals on healthy and education and other social issues that are being affected because of the growing number of immigrants from Zimbabwe who are running away from economic meltdown, who are running away from economic challenges. So it's very important for them to know that whatever affects Zimbabwe is likely to affect them as well, regardless of what type of democracy, what type of government they are having. But fortunately, you know that even they are led by chiefs and kings, there is also a government that is led by politics in their countries. For example, we got a prime minister in Lesotho, we got a prime minister in Swaziland, and even though that dictatorship is rampant, but what mostly South Africa is going to be affected, and when South Africa is affected, they are likely to suffer as well. So everyone is going to suffer when they do not fight for democracy in Zimbabwe. It's very important. In fact, especially when we are going for regional integration, which is one of the SADC principles and guidelines and policy to say they want SADC to be one bloc, to be one country, to have one currency. If they are pushing for that, it means that if Zimbabwe keeps on suffering the economic downfall, then that will spill over to them as well. So I think that's my point there, to say they must also get involved.
Thank you so much, Chairman. It's always refreshing to hear you break down the issues in SADC. I'm sure Chief is itching his updates and also maybe questions for you. Chief? You're on mute, Chief.
Thank you, Dr. Ranga. Thank you, Mr. Lovu, for the work that you did in Zambia. And let me welcome everyone back. I know we got interrupted. Let's continue to share the link so that those that were here can come back. I'm sure my brother who is on YouTube, who are sending messages that you cannot hear us. Yes, you couldn't hear us because we had broken off a little bit. So we welcome you back, our viewers and listeners on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Facebook. Like we said when we started this SADC protest journey a few days ago or last week, we said apparently there were three groups that were involved that were heading for Zambia. We had the pastors and we had Gambakwe and Gambakwe. I don't know whether we can call him a group, but he was also there. And we had said the more the merrier. Whatever each of us will go there and do, it is just speaking to what we want to achieve. That we want to have an opportunity to tell SADC that we are not happy about what they are doing. We are not happy that they condemned an election and now they are turning around and are giving Emmerson Mnangagwa the chairmanship. Are you telling us that you are now rewarding him for stealing an election? So that voice was spoken out. Those issues were sufficiently dealt with, even though the protest proper did not happen. But I think, as you heard from Mr. Trust Ndovu, the word got out there, because that's the purpose. When you are having a demonstration, you are not only going there, toy. At the end of the day, you want to do something very meaningful. And that something very meaningful in this instance was for us to submit something in writing that is expressing the issues of Zimbabwean people, the concerns and aspirations of Zimbabwean people. And the petition that Mr. Ndovu and his group delivered, it spoke to that. It was a petition that was well written, with evidence, with facts by the best of the democratic alternative in Zimbabwe and outside Zimbabwe. And I can tell you, Mr. Ndovu, tell you that the people that read that document that we shared online and that we should continue to share online, because it's a public document that every Zimbabwean must read, and also reiterate wherever you are and speak to what is in that petition. So they now have it, and we are now waiting for SADC to respond. They must respond. They cannot keep quiet. We Zimbabweans are part of the SADC family. We are the citizens of SADC, and when we have complained, when we have told them that we do not want Emmerson Mnangagwa to become chairperson for SADC until and unless the issue of the stolen 2023 election has been dealt with, they have an obligation to listen. So we expect to hear from SADC as soon as possible. If not, then we have to continue. There are still other opportunities that are there. The SADC meeting that is coming in Zimbabwe presents yet another opportunity for us as Zimbabweans to come together, to unite and do something and show our frustrations, our anger, and our disenchantment against what SADC is doing. So to that effect, I think Change Radio, you should give the mic to the bishops that are here, because I know that they had a press conference yesterday, and they are also going to hand in their petition. If it was not done today, it's going to be done tomorrow. So we also want to hear from them, and we are expecting some of the champions, some of the comrades that traveled the length and breadth of Southern Africa. Some people drove about 1,300, some 1,500 kilometers driving some from Namibia, some from Botswana, so that they could get to Zambia. I'm joined on the phone here by the former chairperson for Namibia, who may still be on the road driving. Chairman Bond, Mashika Eregu Namibia. I hope people can hear you.
Actually, we've entered the border from the Zambian border into Namibia. I think most people know this place is the country is clean.
Okay, just hang on a second. Let me make sure that people can hear you. Can you hear Mr. Chambara?
Yes, Chief. It may be a little louder, but we can hear you.
Okay, so Mr. Chambara, yeah, you can tell the people how many kilometers you drove and how many kilometers you are left with to get to Namibia, And the cat is already out of the bag, Chairman, because Mr. Trust has already said that you are back from college. People would want to hear what happened during the detention. How were you welcomed by others where you were detained? If you can just walk us through there, and also your take on what the people of Zimbabwe achieved in Zambia, because we've heard Opam Chinguri, we've heard the ZANU-PF spokesperson and other people, high-ranking officials from the regime, saying that there was one person in Zambia, the war mission, your mission, that you drove more than 2,000 kilometers for, was a flop.
Yeah, thank you so much. I didn't know that Chairman Trust is let the cat out of the bag. I thought it was still a secret. We just
no, not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, we drove almost 2,000 kilometers, but right now I'm in what is this called? Katima. It's a Capri trip. Just entered the border from Zambia. It was a shaken day, so I'm left with about 1,200 kilometers to get to Big. So it's about South Kilos in Korea, but I'm just resting a bit. Then we'll proceed. But we travel very well and safe. I'm safe here. I'm no longer in the detention. Back home. This is a bit of fresh air now. It was a fruitful mission, very successful mission. Because what the most important thing we did was to deliver the petition. And this petition, once you do a demonstration without, handing over a petition, it's just a bit of, you'll just be making noise or disturbing people. But once your petition has been received, that's the most important thing that we've ever achieved. Although we didn't manage to do the big noise that we wanted to do because of the issues, the clearance and other things, we managed to deliver the petition to the right people who believe that these people just take it direct to the places that we wanted to receive this petition. So I think Chairman Trust has already stated a lot about this.
So Mr. Chambara, on the in terms of awareness, making the aware, making SADC country of nations and everyone who was following what was going on in Zambia. What would you say you also did besides handing over the petition in terms of alerting the people? I know maybe you could have had if you had any press conferences, who did you speak to, which publications, any TV stations, any radio stations?
Yeah, no, we did. There was a lot of attention. It seems as if the media, the intelligence, the whole government knew about us. And the whole SADC knew about us. That's a good part of it because they were actually waiting for us. The media was waiting for us. We had a lot of interviews, different radio stations, TV stations, even the newspapers, online, and also the conventional ones. We had a lot of interviews. We had to set up our command station where we stayed, so that we ended up saying, guys, we cannot come to your premises. It's rather easy for you to come to where we are. So we set up a nice station where we are having our press conferences, and it was just one media company coming after the other, coming to interview us. So the awareness was brought, and also even the media the guy who arrested me identified, he saw me on social media. Then he said, this is a guy, I remember this guy. He's on social media. Also, that means what was happening at 120, the press conferences, the guys who are working on the media, both social and the mainstream, they think our mission was well received, and most of the people knew about it. Because if you see if you want to see the impact of it, when I was arrested and detained, the minister himself, Minister of Defense, came to where I was to interact. They were talking about the social media that they saw us, they other stuff in the news. These are the guys. And it shows you the impact of it and the importance and whatever we did was not just child play, but it was very impactful, so to say. So I can't remember most of the media houses again because there were a lot of them. Even the first day when we went to Bushi or something, the place where they were having the conference, the media was already there interviewing us. They were telling you about this event. So this is not Zambia is just trying to play down the impact of it, because maybe they want to give a different report to their bosses, and also to give a different narrative. Just try to deny what happened. But I'm telling you, when I was detained, that's when I really see the impact and the depth of what we've done and the importance of our petition. Because actually, when we went with German Trust where I was caught, they were actually having a meeting discussing the petition. So one of the guys who was at the door, he told the guy who arrested me, say, no, the meeting that is happening upstairs, these are the guys who brought the petition. But this guy was also a bit overzealous and stuff like that. He didn't want to listen to anyone.
Can you still hear, Chief? My brother, Change Radio and Chairman Trust? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know, maybe you can speak a bit louder.
Okay.
Oh, Dr. Nana can't hear me.
I can hear you now, my brother. Go ahead.
Dr. Sometimes, it goes to
my shootings in Zuro, so we have to be in hiding. There's no good signal down here. Exactly.
Yeah, so I think it also what I think is also a bit of divisions in the Zambian security forces.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question. Now you're jumping to it. You're preempting my question. You are just so smart. But anyway, I was going to say, what would you think, when you were doing everything that you were doing, do you think that there was an ethical lungu element in some of the problems that you encountered, given the relationship between Edgar Lungu and ZANU-PF?
Yes, you could see that I was about to say about what I did about the secret forces, from the secret agents to the military, the police, and everyone. I could think that because some of them, when they come to you, they are so aggressive. This ZANU-PF kind of aggression. The approach is not professional and stuff like that. Then suddenly there'll be somebody from the same, force. They will come and say, guys, no, you don't need to. Because this guy is saying, basically, you could see that they're trying to, correct each other. And these are things that also even the intelligence things. And I think, the Lungu, also Lungu, the Lungu part of it is, and the other guys are the benefit. These guys, they are working to tarnish the image of H-States. You could see that the narrative that the Zambia was now trying to push before we started our demo. They wanted to post a video of people being beaten up in Zambia, trying to show that they were saying, oh, you're talking about democracy, H and stuff like that. So I think also the reason why the police had to, stop and do not clear us to have a proper demo was also to save guns, because I think the Lungu guys, his supporters, were also going to join us and cause mayhem in Zambia. Others were going to do a peaceful demo, but I think they did something that this guy, because everyone was alert that there's going to be a demonstration. Zimbabweans are coming all over from Namibia, Zambia, from Botswana, South Africa. They're coming down to Zambia. So I think they also wanted to use this to cause mayhem in Zambia. It's bad because they're trying to say, guys, no, there's another avenue that you can use to be heard. Because I think they saw that this group was genuine, and we wanted to really end petition. So those are some of the people who gave us when they to assist us with information on how we can get our papers, our petition straight to the highest office. Because they saw that after when we came there, we just peaceful. And we're not part of the group that wanted to cause damage or noise or to do a violent demonstration. So, but whenever they consider, even the police that will come there, some of them so aggressive to you, and later they changed their attitude. So one of them reprimanded them, so to say. And when I was arrested, one guy picked up, I think, also I think I don't know, the guy was so aggressive that he grabbed my phone. And he said, delete everything here. He tried to delete because I was already wanting the owners to trust. But he grabbed the phone before I pressed the send button. So he took the phone and tried to delete it. Then other guys were watching and said, no, but these guys were here yesterday. And actually, the 10 seconds of told them to come back with another letter, with another document to submit. So the guy didn't listen. And so they started calling other people there. It went big. And I was now sitting there instead. But later I saw that they thought mention of because they searched me all over my clothes to the bag that I was having. My other phone, everything was taken out, shoes, because I think they thought I'm one of those guys paid to go for bail and to disturb peace in Zambia. So that's why even the highest office came because of peace of defense. Everyone does have something. I said at one point I was scared. I thought maybe I was getting something that I didn't realize it's not dangerous or something. So they did harass me, but the first guy who took me in, he really wanted to harass me. And even the police officers who reported, one of them was very rough. But later, the second officer came, it was this guy. But I realized that he was they were suspecting something, with other guys, because they thought we're dealing with it. The reason why also they took their phone and they wanted to scan my phone and everything.
You are saying they thought they did it. They were actually given that information. They were given wrong information. And that's why they were treating you the way they were treating you.
Chief, can I come in? I think this is a very important point. So, because I know we're talking about Lungu here. here, but everyone knows who Lungwe is in Zambia. Lungwe is the ZANU-PF. I mean, anyway, that's the perception. So the question is, if we are being treated like this before Mnangagwa becomes the chairperson of SADC, what will life look like for Zimbabwean citizens throughout SADC for the next 1 year if Mnangagwa becomes the chairman in August?
Yeah, this is going to be that's the reason why we asking SADC not to give him the chairmanship, because already he is a threat to SADC, to the SADC region. And we have seen his hand and his fingerprints placed in everything that we, wherever we went, we could see his touch there. So it's I don't know, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be worse, because also what they're doing is, these guys, they have the money. They're using their financial muscle to bulldoze anyone. So if they just come to a country and the people there, they're also, they're not professional, they will receive the money and actually work with the ZANU-PF. So that's one thing that, we should continue to highlight, even to SADC, that this is what is happening. There is a serious use of money to buy certain people in offices, whether it's in the secret forces or where, by ZANU-PF, in order to squash anything or anyone who wants to rise up and they say something, whether you're in Namibia, whether in Botswana or Zambia, that's what ZANU-PF is doing. It's using the financial muscle. So it's going to be tough for us if we can go ahead and say be the chairman of SADC.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chambara. I know you have a long drive to make. If we are still around, we'll call you again so that you can give us more information. And I'm sure Trust wants to chime in on what we were saying. Change Radio, if you can also give the mic to our sister Queen. She was part of the preparations of everything that was happening. Let's hear from one of our sisters and the pastors. I'm seeing the pastors here, and Mr. One of our Zambian leaders is also here. Please do also request the mic so that we could also hear from you, all those that were involved in this program. Thank you very much, Mr. Chambara. Over to you, Dr. Ranga.
Thank you, Chief. Just to remind everyone, we are already kind of over time because of the soccer match that Chief and others are looking forward to watching between England and Spain. So we have about 20 minutes to go. So let's make the most out of that time. Those who want to ask questions, please come on the platform and ask questions. Meanwhile, Chairman Love, if there's anything else you want to add, you can go ahead. But those who have questions or who want to comment on what happened in Zambia and the way forward, please do come forward. Thank you.
Dr. Ranga, I don't have much, but maybe just to sum up the action plans, to say we don't need to fold our hands. It's time to step up the pressure. Despite the pressure, we have something to rally on. This issue can make our people, then encourage our people to come out in numbers and gather and hand over petitions to SADC embassies. In particular here, wherever, I believe that can also happen even in the Western countries, because they got the embassies in some of these countries. We need to pile up pressure. We need to make a clarion call. It shouldn't be like it's a once-off thing. Until the 16th, 17th of August, until the SADC summit, there must be a series of actions taking place, or a series of programs taking place to conscientize the international community and the SADC community
that Zimbabweans are not happy, Zimbabweans are frustrated, Zimbabweans want to know the finalization of SADC report. We don't want Mnangagwa to rig it, to rig the SADC again, the same way he rigged the election process in the country, in our country. They must not allow Mnangagwa to do that. I know he uses a lot of money. He planted a lot of intelligence undercover people all over, and he deployed them in different institutions, including even in SADC. So to persuade people people to believe him. He is a liar. He is not telling the truth. And perhaps in the interest of time, so that we'll go and watch soccer, let me end up here by saying, let England win. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My brother, Change Radio, do you have a question for Chairman Lofu?
As he said, the people have to go and watch soccer. I wanted to ask him if there's anything he wants to address which was not asked. I think that's my contribution. Thank you.
Oh yes, maybe I don't know, because some of the things I kept on talking while I was off, while I was already muted. So I no longer know what I left and what was captured. But maybe just to say, let us go out, and those who are in the SADC countries, let us try to mobilize people from other SADC countries. It should not only be Zimbabweans. We need their solidarity. We created a platform for them. SADC Citizens Democratic Society is a registered civil society or organization to allow our brothers and sisters in the region to join us, to participate in our struggle to free ourselves. So maybe that's the only thing I can say for now.
Thank you, Chairman Love. I see my brother Maposa there. If you want to say something, this is your moment. And once again, we welcome everyone to this space hosted by Change Radio. As always, this is the place for you to hear what's going on with our country, what we're working towards as citizens. So we bring these voices. Whether they are voices from Zambia, whether they are voices from South Africa, whether people in Zimbabwe doing something, talking about how we move our country forward. I think that's what's very critical, because unfortunately as Zimbabwean citizens, we keep talking about the past. We're still talking about Mugabe, he's long gone. We still talk about ZANU-PF, a dinosaur party, and all the atrocities that they have superintended. So we need to be talking more about what do we do going forward. And I know everyone is anxious to watch the match today, so if nobody requests the mic, my brother at Change Radio, maybe we can play a song and wind down the program, so that people will want to come again tomorrow, and let's reshare this space so that others can hear what happened in Zambia and why it matters to Zimbabweans and also to SADC citizens in general. And we hope that the decision makers in SADC don't ignore the calls that Zimbabwean citizens are making. This is not a personal issue. We don't have, some of us, we really don't have anything against Mr. Mnangagwa. We do have issues with him being the chairman of SADC just because of what he has done at home. Like we talk about, charity begins at home. And with everything that's going on in Zimbabwe, SADC should not be so eager to say, hey, chairmanship should go to Zimbabwe. Yeah, you can talk about rotation, but this is more than just about chairmanship rotation. If you see how desperate Mr. Mnangagwa and his cabal in Zimbabwe are preparing, as if life ends with this summit coming on in August, you would think that that's what tells you that it's more than just a rotational chairmanship. It's an opportunity for them maybe to continue on the path of the corrupt practices that we have seen in broad daylight. Everybody has seen that. Now you're giving them the keys to the whole region to export. Some have talked about ZANU-PF exporting its terrorism to the rest of SADC, and people need to take that seriously. Mr. Mnangagwa and his government can change any day to do the right thing for Zimbabwe and do the right thing for SADC, but for some strange reason, they choose to do what is just in their interest. We just saw the auditor's report just this past week, and how much looting going on in every department of the Zimbabwean government. And you know what is very disturbing is that the people who lead those institutions, they are the same ones who would deploy the police to disturb the peace in communities, to keep silencing Zimbabwean citizens whenever we speak up about the atrocities we are seeing in our country, or about the corruption, the Chivayo saga, the Zex. There's a lot going on. Whenever we speak up, someone is quick to silence citizens. Even in Zambia, they are following us there and trying to silence us. And we should not allow that to happen. And SADC should not allow that to happen, not because we are being selfish, but that's the right thing for Zimbabwe and also the right thing for SADC. Imagine the bullying they are doing now. Imagine now when they are the chairpersons. What would they do to Zambia? What would they do in Zambia? What are they going to do in Malawi? So this is why other SADC citizens, besides us Zimbabwean citizens, should also be speaking up. This should not just be about us Zimbabwean citizens. It should be about all of us SADC citizens saying, we want a SADC that is at peace. We want a Zimbabwe that is at peace with all its neighbors. We want a prosperous SADC region, economically, in terms of respecting human rights, infrastructure development, and other things that other parts of the world are seized with. We can't be the sick child in SADC that perennially, every year, for the past God knows how long, Zimbabwe has been a problem. And SADC is not helping the situation when it says, oh, Mr. Mnangagwa is going to be the next chairman of SADC. I think that Zimbabwean citizens ought to speak up more wherever we are. You don't have to be in Zambia. You don't have to be in Zimbabwe. You can speak up from anywhere in the world. And what we want, Mr. Mnangagwa can choose to do the right thing. Like he just said, he is not going to, he should never ever have talked about 2030 anyway. Never. But because of pressure from citizens, he announced he won't seek re-election. In ZANU-PF, guess what? They are going to their next victim to keep tormenting Zimbabwean citizens. So change can happen. But if we don't speak up for the Zimbabwe we want, for the SADC we want, nobody will care. Life will go on, right? So anyway, my brother, Change Radio, if you found a song or you have something to say to close the space, please go ahead. Dr. Anga will talk for, God knows how long. Thank you.
So just 1 minute, I go through the petition just in 1 minute. Then instead of a song, I think, I will play the song after going through the petition they submitted. So in the context of the petition, Zimbabweans submitted the petition to the Foreign Ministry of Zambia, targeting the chairmanship held by the Zambian president, the chairmanship of SADC. Then the petition addresses significant concerns about the political situation in Zimbabwe, especially the human rights violations and the 2023 elections. They are talking about increasing of human rights abuses and diminishing democratic space in Zimbabwe, criminalizing of opposition activities and arrests of opposition leaders under the leadership of Emmerson Mnangagwa as the de facto president right now and under ZANU-PF. And they also acknowledged the SADC Observer Mission report that was announced, that was pronounced by former Deputy President of Zambia, Mr. Mumba, and they also concerned about this after this report. They are now concerned, or we now as Zimbabweans have a dispute against the outcome of the 2023 election. That's what the petition addresses, and they are calling for SADC to facilitate a dialogue, particularly between President Nelson Chamisa of the Citizens Coalition for Change and President Emmerson Mnangagwa of ZANU-PF. Timber and the 78 Avondale team who were arrested on the 16th of June. They, I think, in the context, the historical context of the report, the petition, they talked about the rise of Mnangagwa from through a coup, a military supported coup in 2017, and continued repression of opposition and abuse of state power. I think there's also corruption and other violations in that report they mentioned, right? So they have a specific request they made to SADC to facilitate a dialogue and legal reform. Zimbabwe, appoint mediator to resolve the political impasse, delay or stop appointing Mnangagwa as chairman of SADC now, then prioritize Zimbabwe's political crisis in the SADC agenda. This is what maybe Chairman Trust said earlier, that the appointment of Emmerson Mnangagwa as chairman of SADC means a lot to a lot of problems to SADC in surrounding countries. So I think I have gone through their report and I tried to cover everything. Thank you so much for coming to listen to us. It was a pleasure to have you here. I think I'll play this song maybe just for 1 minute.
My brother, change radio.
Yes.
Mr. Maposa just came on the speaker, so he was one of the organizers. So maybe we should give him an opportunity to say a word or two. Welcome, Mr. Maposa. Mr. Maposa, and you're on mute. I'm not sure if he's having issues with his speaker. You can unmute Mr. Maposa and say something. If not, my brother, change radio. I guess this is it. Thank you.
Mr. Maposa, can you hear us? May you unmute and maybe say one or two words? You are still on mute. Okay. So unfortunately, it seems like he is away, or maybe he can't hear. So we are just about to close. So. Is it audible, the music?
It seems like you are playing it from the bunker, but it's audible. I think you should close us out. It'll be all right.
We need to close. Thank you. Have a good time. Thank you for coming to listen to us.